So today I want to talk about the role of compliments within Agile. Compliments are a really interesting facet of communication that I think are massively underrated and sort of massively misunderstood. Because Agile is about collaboration, and for good collaboration you need good communication. But I think collaboration, it also comes from bonds of trust and respect and kind of rapport and connection with each other, not just good communication alone, not just clear communication or effective meetings or anything like that. And one of the ways for me you build those bonds of rapport and trust and so forth is through compliments, through complimenting each other. So first of all, I think compliments demonstrate trust. I think if you're complimenting someone, if you're saying, that's really, really good, I really like what you're doing, you're demonstrating that you trust them. And actually in the Agile Manifesto, it says, teams must be trusted. You must trust the people that you work with. And compliments are a really, really good, pleasant, lovely, happy way of demonstrating that trust towards other people. Also, I think they're a part of servant leadership, because servant leadership that Agile requires sort of says that you assume the good intentions of everyone you work with. You assume no one turns up to work wanting to do a bad job or to annoy people or to bully people or to be horrible or anything like that. And once you assume that everyone has good intentions, then actually it's really hard not to start complimenting people, because you're kind of seeing the good in them. And when you see good in people, you want to compliment it. You want to say, great, I really like you. I like who you are. I like what you stand for. I like the work you do. So the more you servant lead, kind of the easier compliments get, really. And I think also the role of compliments in communications is around this phrase, you catch more flies with honey than vinegar. And not to say the people you work with are flies, but at the same time, if you're pleasant towards people, they're going to talk to you more, they're going to open up to you. If every time someone brings you a piece of work to look at and to get your opinion on, you're negative on it, you kind of feel like there's something you need to change, because, that's the role of someone senior is to be better than the other person and to know better and to have more high-powered thinking, therefore you need to make changes in it. The more you just focus on, change this and change that, and I don't like that, and we would expect you to have done this and so forth, the less they're going to want to communicate with you, the less they're going to want to show you their work, and the less they're going to collaborate with you. So actually not complimenting people really is counter to agility. But there's something I know really interesting I noticed last summer, and this fascinated me, and I've heard it from other people since, kind of in not without them realising kind of ways. But I was scrum mastering a project, and it was a team that had come together for a week. We hadn't actually met before that week. We worked together really intensively. We lived together. We used the same portaloos as each other, all that sort of stuff. We ate together really intensively for a week, and then we disappeared again, and I haven't seen a lot of these people since. So it's a really tough job to scrum master a team, to pull together a team in a week and help servant lead them and help them collaborate and work best together, and then have them all disappear again. And one thing I did with that was I complimented their work pretty much non-stop. I had to review all of their work before it actually went live out to its intended audience. And there was some stuff that I thought was brilliant, there was some stuff that I thought was quite good, and there was some stuff that I thought could have been better, and there were only probably one or two bits that I was like, absolutely no way can we go live with this, for various reasons. But really, out of the 100 pieces of content we produced, only one or two I actually had to say no to. The rest of them I complimented unreservedly. I said they were superb, brilliant, marvellous, excellent, even when I thought they necessarily weren't. And the really interesting thing I noticed during the week was that the more I complimented people's work, the better their work got. Even if their work was bad and I complimented it, their work started to improve. So it didn't need me going, this is fine, but actually I think you need to change this and this and this, or can you just tweak this, or I'm not so sure about the intro or the outro or whatever it was. Actually, I just said, I love all of this, it's superb, brilliant, you've done an amazing job, go live with it now. They carried on improving. And I think the thing with this is it comes back to a lot of what the Agile Manifesto is talking about, that you trust people to do a good job, and people are capable of working out themselves how to do a good job. All you need to do is just encourage them and support them and make them feel trusted, give them those compliments that demonstrate trust, and they naturally themselves will look to improve their work. If you're not critiquing their work, they're actually putting the onus of critiquing back on them. They get to critique their work more. And generally, we're our own worst critics. We are more than capable of being aware when we've done something great, when we've done something we think we could have done better and how we could have improved it. And that's what Agile's talking about. It's talking about the team itself can actually improve things, rather than having someone else telling them exactly what to do and managing them and telling them how to improve it. So yes, I found the more I complimented work, even bad work, the better the work got, which is fascinating. But I'd love to try it again. In fact, I'm going to try it again. And I'd really be interested if you wanted to try try it as well, just for a short time maybe, just in an individual instance, and just see what happens, because I really believe the more you compliment people, the more they will critique their own work and look to improve it themselves. So how do you do it though? Because that's difficult sometimes. It doesn't come naturally to us. I think there's a few things in this. One is email. Email's quite difficult to compliment people by. It's quite difficult to communicate with anyway sometimes, because you're losing all the body language, you're losing all the intonation. You know, you can really misunderstand the written word compared with the spoken word. With email, I quite like to use visual things. You can Google them, there's loads on the internet. Remember Tony the Tiger from the Frosties adverts going great? I sometimes just send people a photo of Tony the Tiger and they hear his voice inside their heads going great. Or the Fonz from Happy Days with thumbs up, hey, sort of thing. Like, I send people a picture of the Fonz doing that, and that, you know, they get that as a compliment. The other great one I really love is you can find pictures through just Google image search of people holding up cards, scorecards, like the sort of ice skating, you know, 9.8, 9.7. If you can find a photo, and there's a few of them online, of sort of a table of people all sitting in a line holding up scorecards that say 10, and they all say 10, like you've got a perfect 10 score. Just send people that. And they get that you're saying 10 out of 10, absolutely perfect, brilliant. Those visual things work really, really well compared with writing an email. I think you have done a good job. And speaking of stuff like that, I sometimes think when we get stuck into the business world and corporate business speak and the organisational culture and so forth, quite often we use kind of very formal language with each other. We say you're a strong performer, or, you know, this is good work and so forth. And I just don't think that cuts through. I think you're so used to hearing that sort of stuff, and it's so formal and inhuman and just sort of generic that you can tell people that and they'll go, yay, I'm a strong performer. I don't really know what that means. It's not something they're going to tell their friends in the pub. So what I quite like to do, and this is maybe just me, I quite like to get really over the top with it. I really like to go, this is the most phenomenal thing I have ever seen. The world is now 17.82% better as a result of this thing you have done existing. I adore it. I want to marry it. I want to nibble its shell-like ears. I want to bear its children. It's a bit camp. It's a bit theatrical, and I am a bit camp and theatrical. But at the same time, it works really, really well because you get cut through, because people aren't used to hearing things like that. And it's so effusive, it's so over the top, that it kind of also diffuses the slight awkwardness you sometimes get, especially if you're British, or English especially, really, of kind of being, you know, great, well done sort of thing. We're a bit reserved as a people sometimes. So it kind of cuts through that. You're going so over the top with it, they can have a laugh about it, you can have a laugh about it, and it leaves them a warm, fuzzy feeling. So yes, compliments are great. I think they're really, really important for communication. They're really important for building the trust and rapport that you need for collaboration. And the really fascinating thing, I think, is if you compliment bad work rather than critiquing bad work, the bad work gets better. And I think the bad work gets better faster if you compliment it than if you critique it. So yes, do give that a go. And if you have any experiences with it, if you try it out and you find it works, I'd love to hear from you. Either send me an email or leave me a comment below.